Imagine a place so isolated, so forgotten, that for decades it didn't even appear on maps, or when it did, it was shrouded in secrets and theories. We are not talking about a place in fiction, but about real islands, pieces of land lost in vast oceans, whose stories seem to come straight out of a mystery novel or an ultra-secret file. Some of these islands were intentionally hidden, used as stages for prohibited experiments or top-secret military bases. Others simply resisted human exploration for so long that they became legends, question marks in the blue vastness. Get ready to dive into the depths of the unknown. From the icy waters of the Arctic to the inhospitable confines of the South Pacific, we will reveal 10 islands that, for different reasons, were kept away from the world's eyes for decades, guarding secrets that challenge our understanding. Welcome to our channel, where reality is often stranger and more fascinating than fantasy. And today, we are going to explore the mystery of islands that hid in plain sight, or almost. Stay with us, because this journey is just beginning. We start with Bouvet Island. Alone in the South Atlantic Ocean, more than 1,700 kilometers from the nearest land, which is itself Antarctica. Discovered in 1739, it was lost and rediscovered several times over the centuries. A true geographical ghost. But Bouvet's mystery goes beyond its remote location and difficult access. In 1964, a perfectly functional lifeboat was found in a lagoon on the island, with no signs of occupants or a nearby shipwreck. Where did this boat come from? No one ever knew. Decades later, in 1979, the area around Bouvet was the scene of an inexplicable event known as the Vela Incident, a possible double flash detected by an American spy satellite. Many speculate it was a secret nuclear test, and Bouvet Island, isolated and uninhabited, would be the perfect location to cover up such activity. Authorities have always denied the nuclear hypothesis, but the conjunction of the ghost boat and the mysterious flash transformed Bouvet Island into an icon of insular conspiracies and secrets, a solitary point on the map filled with unanswered questions. Heading north to the cold, we find the archipelago of Severnaya Zemlya, or Northern Land in Russian. Incredibly, this vast group of islands in the Arctic was the last major archipelago on the planet to be discovered and mapped, only in 1913. But its hidden history didn't stop there. For most of the 20th century, under the Soviet regime, Severnaya Zemlya became a restricted zone. Its military bases and research stations were kept secret, and access was practically impossible for foreigners. The cloak of Soviet secrecy covered these islands for decades, fueling rumors about secret military activities and experiments in the Arctic landscape. Only after the end of the Soviet Union did information about Severnaya Zemlya begin to surface. Even today, much of the archipelago remains unexplored and difficult to access, maintaining an air of mystery and seclusion that dates back to the times when we didn't even know of its existence. The Arctic cold seems to guard its secrets well. And what about islands that don't even truly exist? We present Sandy Island. For over a century, it appeared on maps of the Pacific Ocean, northeast of Australia, described as a significant island. Ships cited it. Expeditions included it in their records. However, in 2012, scientists aboard the research vessel RV Southern Surveyor sailed to the location where Sandy Island was supposed to be and found only deep water. The island did not exist. It was a persistent cartographic error. But how could such a big error last for so long? Theories suggest it might have been a whale, a thick fog, or even a cartographer's prank to protect copyright. Regardless of the cause, Sandy Island became the epitome of phantom islands, a reminder that our maps are not as complete as we think. The persistence of this non-existent island in reputable publications for over 100 years is, in itself, a fascinating mystery, showing how erroneous information can solidify and be accepted as truth for decades, hiding the reality of an empty vastness. Now, a dark case of an island that was deliberately hidden due to its deadly activities. Vozrozdeniya Island in the Aral Sea, which today is a large desert. Originally an island, the sea's retreat turned it into a peninsula. During the Soviet era, Vozrozdeniya became the center of the top-secret biological weapons program. There, in fortified laboratories, Soviet scientists tested and stored lethal pathogens like anthrax, smallpox, and bubonic plague on a large scale. The island was one of the most restricted and dangerous locations in the Soviet Union. Its secrets were closely guarded, and access was prohibited to anyone not involved in the program. It was literally an island of death, hidden from the outside world. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, the island was hastily abandoned, leaving behind decrepit laboratories and, most dangerously, deposits of anthrax spores. The melting of a contaminated landfill and the island's connection to the mainland raised fears that the pathogens could spread. International teams made efforts to decontaminate parts of the island in the early 2000s, but danger still lurks. Vozrozdeniya Island remains a toxic ghost of the Soviet past, an island that was hidden by secrecy and today reveals its deadliest secrets. Moving to the Indian Ocean, we find Diego Garcia, the largest island in the Chagos archipelago. For centuries, it was home to a native population, the Chagosians, who lived peacefully on their islands. However, in the 1960s, the British government, which administered the territory, made a secret agreement with the United States. The Chagos Islands, and particularly Diego Garcia, would be transformed into a massive U.S. military base, and for this, the native population had to be forcibly removed. Between 1968 and 1973, all Chagosians were expelled from their homes and forcibly relocated to other countries, such as Mauritius and the United Kingdom. The island was then emptied and transformed into one of the most strategic and secret military bases in the world, with restricted access to military personnel and authorized staff. Diego Garcia became a crucial point for U.S. military operations in the Middle East and Asia, involved in surveillance, logistics, and, according to allegations, even as a site for secret detentions. The veil of military secrecy covered the island and the tragic history of its original inhabitants for decades. The Chagosians' struggle for the right to return to their homeland continues to this day, keeping the spotlight on the history of Diego Garcia, an island whose existence was, to the outside world, summarized as a top-secret military base, hiding the trauma of a displaced population. In the far south, lost in the icy waters of the Southern Ocean, is Peter I Island. Discovered in 1821, it is one of the few islands in the world that does not belong to any nation, despite Norway claiming it since 1931. However, the claim is not internationally recognized, especially under the Antarctic Treaty. Its remote location, brutal climate, and almost complete ice cover make access extremely difficult. Expeditions to Peter I Island are rare, and the island remains practically untouched by human presence, an isolated piece of land in the world. This inaccessibility and unique status keep it as one of the least explored and most mysterious places on the planet. What exists under the vast ice sheet covering the island? What geological or biological secrets does it hold? For decades, Peter I remained a vague spot on the polar map, an island that hid not through human secrecy, but through the relentless force of nature. Its story is a testament to how even in a globalized world, there are places that resist our curiosity and exploration. Radically changing scenario and danger, we arrive at North Sentinel Island in the Bay of Bengal. This island is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last tribes in the world living in total voluntary isolation, refusing any contact with the outside world, often violently. Discovered centuries ago, the island and its inhabitants have remained an impenetrable mystery. Attempts at contact throughout history were met with hostility, with arrows and spears directed at anyone who approached. The Indian government established an exclusion zone around the island, prohibiting approach. This decision makes North Sentinel Island one of the most deliberately hidden places in the modern world, but for a protective reason. The lack of contact means that the Sentinelese have no immunity to common diseases, and contact could be fatal for them. For decades, we have known of the island's existence and its inhabitants, but they remain an enigma. Their customs, their language, their internal history, all of this is a mystery. North Sentinel Island is a time capsule, an island that hid from the world to preserve itself, challenging our urge for knowledge and contact. Each of these islands, in its own way, tells a story of mystery and isolation. Some were hidden by man, for strategic or nefarious reasons. Others by nature itself, resisting exploration. They remind us that, even in the age of information and technology that maps every inch of the planet, there are still places that hold secrets, places that were hidden, deliberately or not, for decades. These 10 islands are just the tip of the iceberg of mysteries our planet still holds. They invite us to question what we think we know, to look beyond the obvious, and to recognize that truth is often hidden, waiting to be discovered. Which of these islands did you find most intriguing? Do you know of other islands with mysterious histories or that remained hidden for a long time? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next videos. Activate the notification bell to be notified whenever we release new and insightful content like this. Suggest topics you would like to see covered here in the comments. Your participation is fundamental for us to continue exploring the mysteries of the universe, history, and existence itself. Share this video with your friends and family so that more people can discover the incredible and often shocking stories of these islands that, for decades, lived on the fringes of human knowledge. Thanks for watching. Keep being curious. Keep questioning. And until the next journey through the hidden side of the world,